Hello, this is an instructional video entitled Writing Out is Crazy, and I just came across an example today that even makes it more clear to me that writing out is not just a choice, it's not just maybe not quite as good as writing short, it's crazy. Let me show you why. Today I wrote a take in the Magnum Steno Club that I dictated, and I thought it was about 280 because I read it really fast. I read it at 280 words a minute, it felt like. Well, I wrote it and transcribed it, and it turned out to be 264 words a minute. All right? And so I calculated how many strokes a second I wrote and how many strokes per word I wrote. Let me show you. So I have this nice spreadsheet that I fill in to give me the answers to things I need to know. So I counted the words on my CAT software, and it was 264. And it was exactly 60 seconds. Okay? Indeed, I did make 0 errors on it, which I don't usually make 0, but 264 words a minute. Then I filled in the first and the last stroke number so that it would count my strokes. My first stroke was number 865. My last stroke was 1092. Well, that shows that my strokes per 100 words was 86, which is really pretty good. In the 70s is excellent. In the 80s is good. In the 90s is not bad. Okay? So because I wrote 86 strokes per 100 words, and by the way, I got most of the Q&A symbols in also, if not all of them. Well, it turned out my strokes per second must have been 3.8, which is kind of between comfortable and fast. So it was pushing fast on average, 3.8. Well, then I asked myself, what if there's a person who writes everything out pretty much and they do 3.8 strokes a second as their maximum? How many words a minute would they be writing? Well, let me show you. Okay, so this document is called Mark Kislingbury Speed Calculator. It's an Excel file. And so I just plugged in right here 3.8 strokes per second and 86 strokes per word, and it calculated that your words per minute is 265. Okay? So this is going to answer my question, because I want to find another court reporter or student who writes the same finger speed as me, but writes more strokes per 100 words. And I'll just tell you that 140 is really writing everything out. 130 is nearly as bad. 120 is still writing a lot out. Your average court reporter today does about 115 strokes per 100 words, and the speed contest of people of the past averaged about 111. So let's just do 120, which is still writing out a lot. Okay? Let's just plug in 120. So we're finding a student or a reporter who writes 120 strokes for 100 words, and let's see what words per minute they get. 190. That's Q&A, folks. 190. You're still stuck in school at 190. I mean, this is a crazy example. In other words, let's take me writing this piece again, and I'm sitting down with my headphones on writing this piece, and my fingers are moving 3.8 strokes per second. Okay? And people are watching my fingers move. 3.8, it's kind of court reporter speed, not quite fast court reporter speed. All right? Next to me is sitting a student or a reporter who writes everything out kind of at 120 strokes. They've got their headphones on. Their fingers are moving the exact same speed that mine are moving, and they're getting 190 words a minute. What's the difference between us? If an alien comes in the room and looks at both of us, and there's a room with a lot of other people with their fingers moving slower, the alien will tap my shoulder and say, "Come with me, you seem really good. Your finger's moving fast." And they would tap this person and say, "Oh, come with me. You're really good. Your fingers are moving. It's the same speed as his. Come on." They'd later find out that you can only write 190 and I can write 265. What's the difference between 190 and 265? 265 is better than a Merit reporter. It's one of the top reporters in the country, top 15% probably, or even less. And 190 is not even a professional court reporter, is still a ways from 225. They've made good progress, but it's the difference between a top professional and a student who has not graduated. And what's the difference between us? Only the way we write. Only the way we write. Only the theory we use. Only whether we write out or brief. That's the only difference. And that, my friends, is why I must conclude. It is crazy to write things out.